Hi, this is Jake, and I run the chess club at the Creston-Dement Public Library, and welcome to another chess video. Today's chess video is another opening for black, the Nimzo-Indian defense. The Nimzo-Indian, also sometimes just called the Nimzo, is named after Aaron Nimzowitsch, who developed and popularized the opening. Nimzowitsch also helped to popularize the hypermodern style, which the Nimzo-Indian is a hypermodern opening. Hypermodernism eschews the idea that players should occupy the center with pawns and instead fights for control of the center with bishops and knights. In a previous video, I have explained a bit about the French defense as a response to e4, while the Nimzo-Indian is a response to d4. And this response to d4 is knight to f6, controlling the e4 square in the hypermodern style with a knight. The most popular move for white is to take advantage of the space given to them by controlling more of the center with pawns by playing c4, controlling the d5 square. And in the Nimzo-Indian, black plays e6. A quiet little move, but it opens up development of their bishop, and it will also allow d5 later on. In the Nimzo, white plays knight to c3, trying to control the e4 square to play the move pawn to the e4 in the future. And the small little e6 move previously by black shows its true meaning, with bishop to b4, pinning the knight to the king, no longer allowing control of this e4 square. In this position in master level games, the most popular move is e3, which we'll talk about soon, but first let's talk about if white tries to attack the bishop with a3. Remember the purpose of this bishop on b4. It is to stop control of the e4 square. If you move the bishop away from the attack, such as playing to e7, it defeats the purpose of the move in the first place. And if you try to move away from the attack but keep the pin, white has b4, removing the pin, and your bishop is trapped. After bishop to b6, white can play c5, and your bishop has nowhere to go. So if white plays a3, just take the knight. You will now have control of the e4 square for a very long time. But now let's go back to if white just plays calmly and develops by playing e3. You can see now how quickly we have developed our king side, which allows us to castle on move 4. So we'll take the opportunity to do so. White's king side isn't as developed, but they will probably begin to develop their center as quickly as possible so that they can castle as well, with moves such as bishop to d3. And now our king is safely out of the center, while their king still is, so we should try to open up the center by attacking it. Let's play d5. And white should continue to develop their king side so that they can soon castle, with a move like knight to f3. We have a few moves here for black, but before we develop our knight and block in this pawn for the rest of the game, let's continue attacking the center and putting on more pressure by playing c5. White should want to get their king out of the center of the board as soon as possible, now that the center is under attack and will likely open up, putting their king in danger if it remains in the center of the board. And they should simply castle here. Now that we have played c5, we can play knight to c6 without blocking this pawn, and both sides have developed a majority of their pieces. We have started to move out of the opening and into a middle game. Both sides have a weaker bishop, still needing to be developed, but black has the idea of, let's say, a3 takes and takes, and now black has this idea of d takes on c4. White will recapture. Black can play b6, supporting the pawn on c5, and also, let's say white simply develops here. We can now place our bishop on b7 on this nice diagonal towards the king. And now that our pawn on d5 isn't there, it's a straight shot. And white still has to do a little bit of work to properly get this bishop into the game. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to visit us again for another chess video. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you and your king stay safe.